Welcome to r/petty revenge, where if you can't think of any pro revenge, maybe being a bit sassy is more your style. So I hope you enjoy these stories of people getting petty revenge or even petty karma. Please like and subscribe for more content. Thank you. So this first story is by username Gloria J10. Getting my neighbors fined. In my previous apartment, I lived on the bottom floor with two roommates. The girls who lived above me were really noisy, playing loud music at all hours of the night. Music doesn't really affect me much, but to my roommates, it was really annoying. They called the office, and one of the office workers asked them to quiet down as there was a complaint. A couple days later, I heard really loud thumping and jumping from my ceiling. I can handle music, but I don't like thumping noises. I went upstairs to ask them to quiet down. Their excuse was that one of them is a stripper, so she was practicing. And that also because they're moving furniture. Whatever. I left my apartment for a couple of hours, and when I came back, the ceiling lamp had fallen from the ceiling. These apartments came with that lamp, so we would have to pay for it if it's broken. When I asked my roommates what happened, they said the girls above us were stomping so hard that it had broken off from the ceiling. They were in the room at the time, so you can imagine how scary that is for the ceiling lamp to just fall out of nowhere. My roommates called maintenance to fix the lamp, as well as called the office again. By now, these girls knew that they were being too loud too late at night. I could see if it was on the weekend, but it would be during the week. So one night, I decided to call the police because the office wasn't doing anything. I heard the officer speaking to them, and they fed him the same excuses they fed me. After he left, they decided it would be funny to get back at me by stomping extremely loud. I knew they were doing it on purpose because it was louder than it had ever been and was more consistent. So I decided to record it to show the officer proof. Turns out there's a fine for things like that in our lease agreement. I never had a problem with their noise again. So first off, even if you were a stripper, what would stomping around have anything to do with taking off of your clothes? Wouldn't a pole be more with being a stripper? From what I've seen in movies, like Magic Mike and stuff. But that definitely would be scary to have a lamp suddenly fall down, especially if you were right near the lamp. Thank goodness those roommates were not near the lamp, it seems, so they weren't hurt. This next story comes from username Your Lil Nymph. Oh, you have poor people's insurance? You'd better impress me at your consultation because I really hate having patients like you. Back in 2016, I was looking for a therapist. At the time, I had state insurance. State insurance doesn't really give you many options for therapists. After checking out the websites for the 10 or so therapists in my country, I found someone who said she specialized in depression and childhood abuse. Great! That's exactly what I needed. So I phoned her. And boy, was that a mistake. As soon as I told her that I had state insurance, her demeanor towards me completely changed. She said to me, "Oh, you have poor people's insurance? Well, you'd better impress me with your issues when we meet at your consultation, because I really hate working with patients like you." I was shocked. I'd literally just finished explaining that the reason I needed the therapy was because I was suicidal, and she calls me a poor person, and then has the audacity to tell me that I need to impress her with my issues? Seriously? I don't remember how I responded, but she continued by saying, "Yeah, I really hate working with people with your insurance since richer patients pay more. I'm only listed as a provider because they pay me to be on their doesn't mean I have to work with you people. It's just a huge waste of my time. If you can't entertain me at your consultation, I won't take you on as a patient. Do you still want to make an appointment? I'm telling you now, I don't want to meet with you, but if you think you can keep me entertained, then I'll schedule you in. So now, not only am I a waste of time because I'm poor, but my history of trauma and suicidal thoughts are supposed to be entertainment. I made an appointment to meet with her. I purposely chose to meet on Saturday at 10 a.m. because she told me that she had no other appointments for that day. And then I stood her up. I laughed when the appointed time passed and I saw that I had two voicemails on my phone. The first one was a simple, "It's 15 minutes past the scheduled time. Where are you?" And the second was, "How dare you waste my Saturday morning? If you weren't going to show up, then why didn't you cancel? This is why I hate you poor people. I should have taken your information so I could bill you for this." Haha. Which, TLDR. Therapists call me a poor person because of my insurance plan and tells me that she'll only take me on as a patient if I entertain and impress her. I purposely made an appointment for a free consultation on a Saturday and stood her up just to piss her off. Edit. Thanks for the awards. And for those saying uh, and for those saying this isn't true, I don't really know how I could prove it without doxing the therapist. Since I'm not going to do that, sorry you don't believe me, I guess. Just be glad you've never met people like this. So first off, I apologize. Um, while I was never diagnosed with dyslexia, I do have issues where I will see random words in sentences, or I will see a word and in my mind it's written differently, so I pronounce it differently. So I do apologize for any mistakes that I make. Secondly, I feel really bad for OP because depression actually runs in my family, as I just recently learned with my brother's wife, my mom, and then from what I dealt with, like 10 plus years being bullied. Um, and how, because of my family's money um, issues that we've had over the years, we're not exactly rolling in the dough like middle class. We really can't afford therapists and medicine to help with our depression. So I know for me personally, I would have loved a therapist, but my therapy was pretty much just listening to music like K-pop or sad, depressing songs that would make me cry in my closet at night in the dark. Um, but I definitely feel bad for OP who is trying to get help, who actually had insurance to help. It wouldn't have like cost her an arm, leg, and maybe a couple organs like it does with my family. And she got this piece of crap who really should not be a therapist at all. I would definitely try to get her fired or disbarred or something. This third and last story is by username Relly KS Lady. Keep running your mouth about doing training? Okay, now you get to do them all. Not my story, but a friend's, and I felt I had to share it with someone. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Names will be changed for privacy. TLDR at the bottom. My friend Eve works for this big company in our area, and it happens to be state and federally funded, meaning all employees must follow and abide by both state and federal rules and regulations. So Eve is on a team of 4 members, herself being one of them, and they all report to their boss, Mary. This team goes and hosts/do trainings of their own to help guide and teach others in the surrounding areas. Mary ultimately decides who goes to which trainings, when, where, but she is nice and usually lets the 4 of them talk and discuss amongst themselves who will do which trainings. All this would be fine. However, Eve doesn't really like to host/do trainings because she is a shy person and doesn't feel 100% comfortable speaking in front of a large group of people. Mary knows this. Rachel, another of Eve's team members, starts to complain about having to do so many trainings, on Saturdays in particular. Everyone knows this. Mary decides to start drawing names at random, so it's a bit more fair at who does which trainings. However, Rachel still complains. Here's where it starts to get interesting. Remember how I said they all need to follow the state and federal rules? Although Eve, Rachel, and the other 2 members know all the information and material needed to host/do their own trainings, only poor Eve has not been certified through the state, making her ineligible to host/do any more trainings, regardless of what day they are on. Mary kinda doesn't care, because again, every member knows the information and material, and Mary has even hosted a few trainings with Eve, and has seen that Eve is 100% fine hosting trainings, even though she's shy about it. Rachel is still complaining about herself having to do so many trainings, especially on Saturdays. So here is Rachel hosting a training, and the people that are attending are people she's seen before, trained before, worked with before, so she feels a bit comfortable to, well, vent out her frustrations about having to do so many trainings all the time, how she's always stuck doing ones on Saturday, which isn't 100% true, and how her boss has people who aren't certified doing the trainings as well. Well, little did Rachel know that some of the people she was training happened to also personally know her boss, and one of them was Mary's boss, Abigail. So Abigail and a few others decided to text/email Mary directly during Rachel's training to let Mary know, hey, Rachel informs us that you have uncertified personnel hosting trainings. Yeah, this needs to be rectified immediately. So, Eve gets a phone call from Mary. Mary, knowing Eve doesn't like to do trainings. Hey, you are not in trouble, but I just wanted to let you know of a situation. Since you are not certified through the state, you are not able to host/do any more trainings. Eve, try not to jump for joy. Oh no, well, okay then. Just wondering, may I ask what happened for this to change? Mary, oh, so you know how Rachel has been complaining about doing trainings? Well, she decided to run her mouth off at the last one she was hosting and informed my boss and countless others that I'm allowing uncertified personnel to host trainings. Eve, oh, okay, I see. Mary, so because she did that, I'm just letting you know again. You are not in trouble, but you can't host/do them anymore. And also, because she did that, I'm going to be calling her next to let her know that what she did made our team 1 member smaller from hosting future meetings. And because she did that, she will now be hosting every training that is scheduled for a Saturday. Eve, try not to laugh. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Take care. TLDL. Coworker keeps running her mouth about having to do trainings. At a training. So now she gets to do every Saturday training. Lamau. So when I looked up TLDL, that means too long, didn't listen. According to the dictionary, this literally did not tell me anything. Okay, so this is basically you use this when someone tells an overly long story which you zone out of and didn't want them to repeat. So, I finally know what that means. So, I guess this story definitely teaches you not to run your mouth because you never know when someone is going to listen. So I definitely did a little bit better reading through this. I am not used to reading long dialogues, or at least speaking them, even though I've done acting for like 13 plus years in high school. Well, I started in elementary through high school and even in college. And I was fine with those, but reading these long stories are definitely difficult for me. So I do hope that I can get better at them and that I don't sound, or I can stop sounding too awkward with them as well. So I hope you enjoyed these 3 stories. It's a bit longer, I think, than my last video, but please like and subscribe.